As I said on Monday, good riddance to Governor Walz, but he cannot escape accountability for the estimated $9 billion in fraud.
During a House hearing on Minnesota's massive fraud scandal, Tim Emmer tore into Governor Walz, calling out his failure to act despite claims he was aware of the problems long before they exploded. And today, we're covering it all. So if you believe truth isn't partisan, hit the subscribe button and let's jump right into it.
As I said on Monday, good riddance to Governor Walz, but he cannot escape accountability for the estimated $9 billion in fraud. How did this happen? And where the hell has the Twin Cities media been? The Star Tribune is complicit. They have had this story for years, if you just heard, and they've refused to report anything on it. In fact, they continue to try and cover up. Our Minnesota Republican colleagues have demanded answers and accountability for years, but have seen nothing from Walz, his administration, our Democrat colleagues like Tina Smith, Amy Klobuchar, Ilhan Omar, and Angie Craig, or the worthless Star Tribune. Representative Rarick, I'm going to begin with you. You've been working on this issue for years. You've spoken to the whistleblowers personally. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You have an understanding that 1,000 whistleblowers running an account on X have come forward to expose fraud in Minnesota state agencies, and they have been entirely ignored by Tim Walz and have even been retaliated against. Is that accurate?
That is correct. Even this morning, I got another message.
Now, we'll get to the whistleblowers in a moment, but first, it's important to talk about the media's role here, because much of it has fallen short. If you look at Minnesota's largest newspaper, the Star Tribune, which calls itself the Upper Midwest's largest news organization, its coverage has been especially poor. On December 11th, they ran a piece titled, "Trump Claims Minnesota Lost Billions to Fraud. The Evidence to Date Isn't Close." Just 1 week later, federal prosecutors confirmed what's now the widely cited $9 billion figure. Some have pointed out that the paper's CEO, Steve Grove, previously served as Governor Walz's Commissioner of Employment and Economic Development. Whether that influenced coverage or not, the result is the same. The public was misled at a crucial moment. There's also the aspect of hundreds of whistleblowers who raised concerns early and barely received coverage at all. So let's hear what Rarick had to say about them.
Well, in your experience, are their claims credible or are they politically motivated against Walz?
They're completely credible, not politically motivated.
In fact, many of these are Walz administration employees, correct?
They are actually Democrats as well.
Can you quickly give us one example of the retaliation these folks have been facing?
Yes, I can. In my opening statement, I mentioned that the most severe ones was that they would be fired with cause, so they couldn't have unemployment insurance, that they would be blacklisted from all state agencies, and I would bet that it's also Hennepin County and Ramsey County, as you know, those are Democrat-run, and more, much, much more. Based on what you've learned, Representative, over the last several years, do you have any doubt that Governor Tim Walz knew about this fraud as it was occurring? He absolutely knew that it was occurring.
Okay, there are plenty of claims that whistleblowers came forward long before federal investigators stepped in. One notable account on X, which says it represents 480 Minnesota state employees, shared repeated warnings. In one post, it stated, Tim Walz is 100% responsible for massive fraud in Minnesota, adding, "We let him know on fraud early on, hoping for a partnership in stopping fraud, but we got the opposite response." Now, there's no independent confirmation of who runs that account, since the people behind it have stayed anonymous. And honestly, history shows why they might. Back in 2019, Faye Bernstein was a compliance officer at the Department of Human Services, and she helped uncover $29 million in unauthorized payments to 2 Native American tribes. And she got rewarded by being excluded from meetings, work taken away from her, and in one instance, an official telling her to seek therapy. But there's more, and I'll let Emmer do the explaining.
Thank you. The Housing Stability Services Program was estimated to cost about $2.6 million per year, but before it was shut down last October, it was on track to run about $122 million in 2025. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, and Joe Thompson believes that 90% of that was fraud.
Yeah. The Quality Leering Center, as uncovered by Nick Shirley, received almost $10 million in funding. Is that accurate?
I believe it is.
There are more than 80 autism centers in Minnesota under investigation. Is that true?
I believe it is, yes.
It's clear that someone is criminally complicit. You can't just let this amount of money get out of your administration over a period of 7 years without knowing. There was a hearing in the state regarding the fraudulent housing stabilization program, but before that hearing, Governor Walz fired the official who was slated to testify so that they could not testify and expose what was happening under Governor Walz's watch. Has Governor Walz or Attorney General Ellison fired anyone else to your knowledge, Representative?
Not to my knowledge, and that was Eric Rumdahl, and his administration believes that he was not fired. But I say he was fired because it was too convenient.
Right.
The Eric Grumdahl case is strange all on its own. You see, Eric had been serving as the DHS Assistant Commissioner for Homelessness and Housing Supports, overseeing a program whose budget exploded from $2.5 million in 2020 to $104 million by 2024. Then came his sudden departure, which happened right on the eve of an oversight meeting focused on the very program. State officials offered no clear explanation for the move. Now, at this point, that lack of transparency feels familiar, and it lines up with Governor Walz's shifting statements. For instance, when the Feeding Our Future story first broke a few years ago, he said, quote, he was verbally briefed about suspicious activity in the program in late April or early May of 2020. Yet, his spokesperson later clarified, the governor misspoke, and he found out when MDE alerted federal authorities, which was in April 2021. Emmer focused on this exact inconsistency, and needless to say, he didn't hold back.
Are you aware that in a 2021 video, Mr. Ellison promised that he would obstruct his own agencies in their investigation of Somali fraud?
I am very much aware of that.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Marion. Do you have any doubt that Tim Walz knew about this fraud as it was occurring?
None whatsoever.
Walz and Ellison were protecting fraudsters instead of investigating them, and it was purposeful. And it's no coincidence that this is occurring largely in the Somali community. Walz made a sanctuary state, Minnesota, a sanctuary state. He gave free health care, free college, and free licenses to illegals. And Walz looked the other way when Somali immigrants were stealing. Representative Robbins, do you have any doubt that Tim Walz knew about this fraud as it was occurring?
None whatsoever.
So all three of you have no doubt in your minds that Tim Walz knew about the $9 billion of fraud during his tenure as governor and did nothing about it. It looks like my time is about to expire, and I do want to say to all of you, on behalf of Minnesota, thank you for being here, and justice will be served.
Okay, we sure hope it does. But for now, we're still waiting on more details. Based on what's already public, this looks like a slam dunk case. And if investigators prove Walz and other state officials knew what was happening and failed to act, accountability shouldn't stop at lower level players. It has to go all the way up. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, keep thinking.